Welcome to TarantulasDreamTV. You are watching a previously recorded broadcast. Tune in every Monday and Wednesday from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Instagram at TarantulasDreamTV for new episodes. And remember, it is a weird, weird world.
I had zero control over my body. Like, no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't move my arms, my legs.
I would try and fight it. It was just so strong.
And then you'll wake up and you're totally paralyzed, you can't move.
I began hearing voices and screams and crying. I would hear all the sounds of hell.
It is intended for the entertainment and instruction of broad-minded adults only, and should not be played to or sold to minors under any circumstances whatsoever. Thank you.
Broadcasting from the floating pie pan in the sky at Groom Lake Analog Recordings. Welcome to Tarantulas Dream TV. Now here's your host, Samba.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tarantulas Dream TV. I am your host,
Samba.
Hello, it is Monday. We made it through another weekend over here in the beautiful Tucson, Arizona. The weather is finally breaking a little bit. It's so nice outside right now. It's so lovely. If I could take this stream outside, I would. I'd love to do so, but unfortunately, you wouldn't have my little backdrop back here. You wouldn't have the nice microphone. You wouldn't have my soundboard. You wouldn't be able to hear this anytime I wanted you to hear it.
Chip time. Chip time. Chip time.
There you go. Chip time.
Time.
Anyways, welcome to the show, everybody. This week we'll be getting into sleep paralysis. Tonight we're going to get into some of the more scientific reasons why we have sleep paralysis. What exactly is sleep paralysis? The stuff like that. And on Wednesday, we'll be having some stories, some sleep paralysis stories by some listeners of the show. So please stick around for the entirety of tonight and Wednesday's program. Phone number for the show is 520-704-7820 at 9:30. I'm opening up the phone lines for everybody. If you have a sleep paralysis story, I do encourage you to wait till Wednesday because I feel like it'll just give it a nice spooky, eerie feeling if we're all just telling our sleep paralysis stories on Wednesday. But if you'd like to call in tonight, if you can't do it on Wednesday, then I'm not going to stop you. Definitely give me a call. I'd rather you call me and tell me the story than not. So please feel free to do so at 9:30. Anyways, like I said, it is Monday. We made it through the weekend. Here we go. Let's get into some night meat of the night, if you will. So let's start out with some headlines. First one's coming from CNN.com. Johnson & Johnson pauses COVID-19 vaccine trial after unexplained illness. Drug maker Johnson & Johnson said Monday it has paused the advanced clinical trial of its experimental coronavirus vaccine because of an unexplained illness in one of the volunteers. Following our guidelines, this participant's illness is being reviewed and evaluated by the Ensemble Independent Data Safety Monitoring Board, or the DSMB, as well as our internal clinical and safety physicians, the company said in a statement. Ensemble is the name of the study. Adverse events, illnesses, accidents, etc., even those that are serious, are an expected part of any clinical study, especially large studies. The pause was first reported by Stat News. Johnson & Johnson's Janssen vaccine arm, wow, that's a mouthful. Johnson & Johnson's Janssen vaccine arm is developing the shot. The company did not say what the unexplained illness was, but one point of clinical trials is to find out if vaccines cause dangerous side effects. The trials are stopped when they pop up while doctors check to see if the illness can be linked to the vaccine or is a coincidence. So there you go. Unfortunately, another vaccine trial is being put on halt. I believe the Oxford vaccine trial was kind of going through some troubles there for a hot second here in the States. I believe it might still be halted here, but I believe it has begun or continued its trial in Europe and in other places. So unfortunately, this is just kind of the name of the game when it comes to vaccine trials. Sometimes you're going to have these unexplained illnesses, and they have to do their due diligence and make sure it's not because of the vaccine, and before they give these things to millions and millions of people. So we'll see where this leads, but hopefully it's nothing. And our next and last headline is coming from TheVerge.com. Earth's next mini-moon might be space junk from the 1960s. Earth is about to get a temporary mini-moon, and this one might be space junk. Researchers are tracking an object that looks like it will be captured by Earth's gravity for just a few months this winter before safely heading back out into the solar system. It might be a standard asteroid, but some astronomers say that the mystery object's path indicates that it could be part of a 1960s era rocket. Now, there's a reason why I read this article, and you're probably going to guess why in literally just 2 seconds. I'm pretty jazzed about this. Paul Chodas, the manager of NASA's Center for Near-Earth Object Studies, told the Associated Press. I'm sorry. Chodas is one of the world's leading experts on asteroids and has been on the lookout for returning space debris for decades, he told AP. Anyway, that's as far as I'm going to go with that article, because I can't say his name without just laughing. But anyway, Paul Chodas, who's the manager of NASA's Center for Near-Earth Object Studies, is talking about this little mini-moon we're going to get in the next couple months. But apparently it's just a bunch of space junk. So I don't know what that means, though. I don't know if we're going to be able to see it kind of floating around like we see our own moon. I mean, we don't really see our own moon floating around necessarily, but we do see the moon, moving much like the sun does throughout the night. So I don't know. Yeah, I guess we'll get a little mini moon here. But thank you, Paul Chodas, for kind of talking about that. And anyway, one last thing before I get into the meat of the night, I want to wish everybody a happy Indigenous Peoples Day. Above me, I've had the same link kind of scrolling above my head for a number of weeks now. I think it's actually probably been about a month. But it's for the Defend Odom Land Bail Fund. And according to the actual Bail Fund page, it says that the funds are needed to support O'odham and allies as they protect their homelands from the devastation Trump's border wall poses to O'odham's sacred sites and O'odham lives. The costs include immediate bail relief, long-term legal support, vehicle impoundments, and continuation of sustained organizing efforts to protect O'odham land. At current count, 2 protesters have been arrested. We anticipate this number may rise. Rebecca Thomas, O'odham community member and financial overseer, will distribute funds as needed. At current moment, this will be to provide support to both protesters. So if you have any extra funds lying around and you want to give it to a good cause, please check out the link that's been scrolling above my head for about a month now, the Defend O'odham Land Bail Fund. And again, happy Indigenous Peoples Day. So let's get into the meat of the night. It looks like it's blowing up over here on the comments, but I'm going to hold off on checking out some of these comments until after we get into a little bit more of the sleep paralysis. So anyways, what is sleep paralysis? This is something that I've experienced a number of times, more than I can count, actually, to be honest. It hasn't happened to me in a long time, and unfortunately, one of the things that's kind of kept me from covering this topic at length, really to anybody, even really talking about it all that much, is kind of this rumor, this sort of fear that if you start talking about sleep paralysis and you start thinking about sleep paralysis, that you're going to kind of cause yourself to have sleep paralysis. So fortunately, I've been able to avoid sleep paralysis for a number of years now, but I suffered from it for a while there, and yeah, it's not great. I definitely didn't have the same sort of like extreme fear-producing experiences that some of these people that or some of these stories that I'm gonna talk about tonight, as well as maybe some of the stories we'll hear on Wednesday, but they were bad. My sleep paralysis kind of episodes were not great. But what exactly is sleep paralysis? Now, this is from WebMD.com. Sleep paralysis is a feeling of being conscious but unable to move. It occurs when a person passes between stages of wakefulness and sleep. During these transitions, you may be unable to move or speak for a few seconds up to a few minutes. Some people may also feel pressure or a sense of choking. Sleep paralysis may accompany other sleep disorders such as narcolepsy. Narcolepsy is an overpowering need to sleep caused by a problem with the brain's ability to regulate sleep. Sleep paralysis usually occurs at one of two times. If it occurs while you are falling asleep, it's called hypnagogic or pre-dormital sleep paralysis. If it happens as you are waking up, it's called hypnopompic or post-dormital sleep paralysis. Now, as you fall asleep, your body slowly relaxes. Usually you become less aware, so you do not notice the change. However, if you remain or become aware while falling asleep, you may notice that you cannot move or speak. So that's kind of just the general definition of sleep paralysis from a very scientific standpoint. There's two different kinds of sleep paralysis. I know for me personally, all my sleep paralysis episodes were the hypnopompic or the post-dormital sleep paralysis. I always had it as I was waking up, usually very early in the morning. It was never really like my alarm went off and I'm trying to wake up and I couldn't move. It was always random kind of waking up, maybe like 5 a.m. or something, and which makes it even scarier as you weren't really anticipating waking up, and it's very dark at 5 a.m. So you have that as well. Now, who exactly develops sleep paralysis? Now, up to as many as 4 out of every 10 people may have or have had sleep paralysis. This common condition is often first noticed in the teen years, but men and women of any age can have it. Sleep paralysis may run in families. Other factors that may be linked to sleep paralysis include lack of sleep, sleep schedule that changes, mental conditions such as stress or bipolar disorder, sleeping on the back, other sleep problems such as narcolepsy or nighttime leg cramps, use of certain medications such as those for ADHD, and substance abuse. Now, I will say that for me, this was a number of years ago. This was definitely over 6-7 years ago when I was having these episodes. And I definitely wasn't abusing substances. My medications, I have an asthma inhaler, but again, that doesn't, as far as I know, that doesn't cause sleep paralysis. I don't have narcolepsy. I do sleep on my back. And I'm not bipolar, and maybe it was just a lack of sleep. I've been known to be an isopod over the years. An isopod, I just like to stay up very late, very, very late, and just kind of my sleep schedule is all over the place. So it could have been that. But anyway, let's continue. Now, what are some of the things that people see and hear when experiencing sleep paralysis? Now, sufferers of sleep paralysis have claimed to hear voices during episodes, from quiet whispers to low-pitched and very disturbing roars. The sensation of something sitting on your chest is common, as well as difficulty breathing. Another common experience is seeing an entity enter your room, although features of the entity are blurred and fairly difficult to make out. And some people have reported the feeling of being dragged from their beds or a strong vibration moving throughout their entire body. Now, there's definitely more things that people experience when they're in these sleep paralysis episodes. These are fairly innocuous, fairly kind of, I wouldn't say innocent, but they're fairly simple kind of experiences. But I've seen stories run the gamut from, I woke up and I felt like I couldn't breathe, all the way to I was surrounded by entities or mysterious creatures, and they were all sort of laughing at me, and I felt like an evil presence. Like these these sleep paralysis stories are pretty wild. So this is only but a taste of what sleep paralysis can offer you if you want to be scared out of your mind. Now, what happens to your brain during sleep paralysis? Now, sleep paralysis is said to be caused when your brain is transitioning to a different cycle of sleep, either when you're going from awake or going awake to sleep, or waking up from slumber. Now, the exact reason why the body is unable to make these transitions smoothly is still unknown. The brain puts your body into a semi-paralyzed state called atonia. Now, atonia is actually used as a protective mechanism as it prevents you from acting out your dreams. Atonia does not affect your breathing. Atonia can malfunction, however, as is the case with REM sleep disorder. Now, according to MayoClinic.org, with REM or REM sleep disorder, instead of experiencing the normal temporary paralysis of your arms and legs, or atonia, during REM sleep, you physically act out your dreams. The onset can be gradual or sudden, and episodes may occur occasionally or several times a night. The disorder often worsens with time. Now, symptoms of REM sleep behavior disorder may include movement such as kicking, punching, arm flailing, or jumping from the bed in response to action-filled or violent dreams, such as being chased or defending yourself from an attack. Noises such as talking, laughing, shouting, and emotional outcries, or even cursing, and being able to recall the dream if you awaken during the episode. When kind of researching these episodes, I was kind of amazed at how many just random sleep disorders kind of exist, and also I didn't know that there was this mechanism called atonia. I knew that with sleep paralysis that it was scientifically, it's supposed to be a function of the brain. It paralyzes parts of your body, so you don't suddenly start running in your bed if you have a dream while you're running, or you don't start screaming when you see something scary in a nightmare. And so I think a lot of people kind of consider this the reason, this atonia, this malfunction of this behavior of your brain is the reason why we have sleep paralysis. But that isn't what we're going to get into tonight. I wanted to give us kind of a solid foundation of sort of more accepted scientific reasons why sleep paralysis exists before I really dive into some of the more paranormal stuff, because it can get pretty spooky. It also gets again weirdly religious with sleep paralysis. In fact, it kind of attracts a lot of religious people who have very specific reasons why we have sleep paralysis. So we're going to get into that right after the music break. Before I continue, though, I'd like to check some of these comments. So because it does look like it's starting to build up over here early in the night, which is what I like to see. I like to see early comments so I can interact with the listeners. Quiverlip, yeah, love the bags. Hello, Quiverlip, and yes, I love the bags as well. If you love the bags, please tune in from 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. tonight on Tarantulas Dream Radio over on 99.1 FM Downtown Radio. You maybe hear some of the bags on that program as well as a bunch of other sweet bands to soundtrack the weird world we live in. Nathan Lovelady, hello, welcome back to the show. Trial and Error Collective, this is going to be a good one. Well, I'm happy that you're here on the airwaves, Trial and Error Collective, and that you're excited for the sleep paralysis. It seems weird to be so excited about sleep paralysis, because it's actually a very scary, spooky thing, and I never want to have it again. But I swear, if I have it tonight, I'm gonna freak out, but I'll tell all of you on Wednesday. Eggs and Eyes, yeehaw! Hello there, Eggs and Eyes, my in studio but not in studio tonight producer. Totatamon, Eggs and Eyes, how you doing? Nicholas Cage Fight, hello there. Celia, laughing away over there. Trial and Error Collective, who in the chat has had sleep paralysis? It looks like we have some hand waves. I'm not sure if these hand waves mean that Eggs and Eyes, Honeycomb Viper, Trial and Error Collective, and El Christine 17, if you've all had sleep paralysis. I know a few of you have, or if you're just waving. Well, if you're waving, hello. El Christine 729, hello. Honeycomb Viper, hello. Eggs and Eyes, can peeps leave a message on the off-air phone calls? By the way, Samba, is that chill? Yeah, actually, Honeycomb Viper messaged me earlier before I got on the air and asked if that was allowed, and that is totally allowed. I mean, if voicemails weren't allowed on air, I wouldn't have such gems such as this.
Chip time.
There we go. I wouldn't even have that if I wasn't allowing people to leave voicemails. So please feel free on Wednesday. I think what I'm actually going to do is encourage people to leave voicemails. I think that might actually be sort of the most efficient way to get through some of these phone calls, because I have at least 3 or 4 people who have said that they definitively are willing to share their sleep paralysis stories, and I feel like instead of trying to schedule people and hoping they call at the right time, if they leave a voicemail, that might be even easier. But I would also like to ask them questions, so maybe not. I'll figure it out by the end of the show. I'll be thinking about it while I'm talking about it. Thanks and nice, Melancholia. Tron Aaron Collective, Chotus, Asteroid Expert, nice. Honestly, when I saw that Verge article, there's more to it. I just couldn't get through it because of the fact that his name was Chotus or Chodis. I don't know. I assume it's Chotus. I really don't know how else to pronounce his name, but I'm going to go with Chotus. So thanks very much, Chotus, for letting us know about this mini moon. Las Moletas, hello. 8 more were arrested today. I did see something on social media or on Instagram. I think it was talking about that. So again, if you have any money, please donate it to the link that's scrolling above my head. I'm sure that money is also going to be dispersed to the rest of the people who were arrested. Hopefully we can get them out and back out into the streets. Eggs and Eyes, I want to check in with everyone on Wednesday's show and see how many people have sleep paralysis between now and then. Okay, well there you go, Eggs and Eyes. In fact, hopefully you're in the studio on Wednesday so you can kind of help me moderate some of these phone calls and these spooky stories. Nicholas Cage Fight, I'm going to be so mad if I get it again. Haha. I hope you don't, Nicholas Cage Fight. It really is awful. It's really an awful experience. My experience with sleep paralysis wasn't even as bad as some of the ones that I've read about, and there's some of the stories I have right here in front of me, and maybe potentially some of the stories I'm going to hear about from y'all on Wednesday. But it definitely wasn't something that I ever really want to have again. It's definitely something that the more I think about it, the more it just kind of it kind of preys on your base instincts of survival and then fear because you can't move, and then potentially you're seeing things and you're just kind of freaking out because there's literally nothing you can do. Now some people have kind of figured out a way to wiggle out of sleep paralysis, to kind of wiggle a pinky toe or I guess even the big toe, and sort of use that momentum to kind of get their legs moving that'll kind of pull them out of the sleep paralysis episode. So potentially there is a way out of it, but I don't really want to have to try to find out if it works. So Nicholas Cage, I'm very sorry if you get an episode, if you have an episode of sleep paralysis after these next couple episodes. But it is Wednesday, or it is it is October, and it is a spooky month. So maybe if we're going to get sleep paralysis, October is the month to do it. It is a spooky month. And Eggs and Eyes laugh crying over there. So Eggs and Eyes, I'm glad that you're laughing and you're crying. Hopefully no one gets sleep paralysis tonight. That is my goal. If anyone does, but please feel free to message me over on Instagram, or if you have my phone number, you can always text me, or please give me a call, 520-774-7820, and let me know if you get sleep paralysis based on these shows. Now, I'm going to take the bottom of the hour break here in just a second, but I wanted to tease what we're going to be talking about in the second half. So sleep paralysis, even though there is a scientific sort of explanation for why this happens to people and why it's been happening for centuries, this isn't a new thing. A lot of people do believe that it is paranormal in nature, that it has to do with potentially alien abductions, which seems like maybe an obvious kind of fork in the road to take with sleep paralysis. Potentially it also has to do with evil demonic spirits, and that is something we're getting into after the break. So let's take this break now so I can get into sort of the more paranormal side of sleep paralysis. So tonight our song of the night is by Arizona band MaximumRoach. The song's Vanity Vacancy from the 2020 album Dry Rot. The time is 9:26. It is the bottom of the hour. When we get back, open lines. Phone number for the show is 520-704-7820 if you want to call, share a story about sleep paralysis if you can't do it on Wednesday, or if you just want to ask me an old Samba Hero question, if you want to talk about old NASA scientist Chotus, let us know about this mini moon that's going to be kind of happening in the next couple months and then disappearing, or if you just want to, curse me out for giving you sleep paralysis. Anyways, I hope everyone enjoys Maximum Roach. I will be back in a few moments. This is Tarantula's Dream TV, and I am your host, Samba. And we're back. That was Arizona band MaximumRoach. Only the MaximumRoach, not the Minimum Roach. MaximumRoach with their song Vanity Vacancy from the 2020 album Dry Rot. Now, if you want to throw some vacant bones or vain bones towards the old MaximumRoach, you can find them at maximumroach.bandcamp.com. I believe they have a few releases on there, and the album Dry Rot's their full length. So definitely check out Noise Roaches MaximumRoach. The time is 9:29. We're going to call it 9:30. It is open lines. Phone number for the show is 520-704-7820. If you'd like to give Samba a call over here, we can talk sleep paralysis stories, or you can just blame me for all your fears and your woes over here when it comes to sleep paralysis. I hope we all stay paralysis free as we drift off into the peaceful practice of slumber. Anyways, let's get into some of these alien abduction and sleep paralysis tales. So now, although scientists have put forth biological methods as to why sleep paralysis exists and has plagued humans for centuries, some ufologists and alien believers have argued that the reason is far more nefarious and terrifying. Now, this comes from meditech.org. Well, all I can say is that I finally saw what was in the room with me last night around 1:30 a.m. First, I noticed a humming vibration sound getting louder in my ear. Next, I couldn't move my body. I was experiencing sleep paralysis, so finally I calmed myself down without struggling, trying to open up my eyes and see what was going on around me, because I could feel someone touching me, so finally I opened my eyes and, oh boy, what the... They actually wrote, what the? I noticed that I was not in my bedroom. I was somewhere different, and the room was filled with bright, bluish-white light. It was so bright that you could clearly see what was in front of you. I was actually levitated from the floor, and I saw 5 or 6 beings in the room with me. They were staring at me. One was in my face, trying to keep me calm and under its control. The more I tried to struggle and move, the louder the noise increased. It would raise its right arm and form some sort of circling movement in front of me to keep me under its control. I said to it, "Put me down. Leave me alone." Nothing fazed it until I said, "In Christ Jesus, leave me alone." I said this about 2 to 3 times. It let me go, and my body jerked, and I woke up feeling terrified looking around the room. I was shaking. I prayed, and I thanked God that Jesus heard and protected me, and those beings did obey and backed off. What did they look like? All I can remember is that they didn't look human to me. They looked alien-looking with black slanted eyes and small line-like mouths, which was closed. Now, author and End Times authority C.K. Quarterman also believes that sleep paralysis is a result of demonic or alien intervention. And actually, the more I kind of read on this C.K. Quarterman guy, he seems to kind of link the idea of aliens and demons, which if you were here for the Modern Occult Practitioners episode with my interview with occult practitioner Dale, he definitely sees that as a possibility that aliens are demons, potentially demons. He didn't say they were, and in fact the idea of extraterrestrials not being from outer space but being sort of interdimensional demons actually frightened him. He said he preferred the idea of space people coming to take us or to experiment or whatnot over the idea of them being demons. So but this C.K. Quarterman guy, author and End Times authority, seems to kind of link them together. So now this is from his website, fallenangels-ckquarterman.com. If aliens have abducted you, or you experience sleep paralysis and do not wish for it to continue, contact us. We are Christian counselors. We counsel with you to terminate the alien abduction experience as a life pattern. You absolutely do not have to live with abduction experiences. 2% of Americans claim to have had an abduction experience. That seems small until you do the math. That number is 62 million people. The terms alien abduction describe subjectively real memories of being taken secretly against one's will by entities and subjected to complex physical and psychological procedures. Typical claims involve being subjected to a forced medical examination of their reproductive organs. Sometimes abductions are psychic and not physical. Sleep paralysis can be caused by many things, some natural and some paranormal. We will work with you to stop sleep paralysis. An alien abduction experience can cause sleep paralysis, as well as drugs such as Ativan and demonic attack. Which, and before I continue, I kind of find it funny that this quarterman is saying that sleep paralysis can be caused by drugs such as Ativan or demonic attack. There's really no like middle ground there. It was like, well, your sleep paralysis could be caused by like an over-the-counter pill like Ativan, or maybe not over-the-counter, a prescription drug like Ativan, or you could be attacked by a demon. But anyway, I'll continue. Our bodies are designed to disconnect during certain stages of sleep so that we do not injure ourselves while dreaming. This is when we are most vulnerable to attack by outside malicious forces. These beings simply capitalize on our physiology to attack us. These malicious forces are for real. They can abduct you, and they can have sex with both men and women as they sleep. If you have encountered this situation, contact us. We can help to stop it. Now, regarding the old hag syndrome, I believe it has been overly explained away by sleep paralysis. While I investigated that many incidents are indeed associated with this medical disturbance, I believe that hag or demonic attacks are a separate phenomenon. In fact, there are references in China to a pressing ghost written some 5,000 years ago, and similar records from across the world which do not mention the sleep state. Hags, this type of demon, are shadow or spirit entities that seem to live off the unhappiness of other people and particularly target women. Now, Quarterman lists several natural and paranormal reasons why we sometimes suffer from sleep paralysis. Now, the natural causes of sleep paralysis, according to Quarterman, are mostly what I read before: sleeping in a face upwards or supine position, increased stress, excessive consumption of alcohol coupled with lack of adequate sleep, and or drugs. The paranormal causes of sleep paralysis include demons, interdimensional or astral transportation, fallen angels masquerading as aliens, or as he calls it, psychic rape, which I didn't really dive too deep into, but from what I gathered, the concept, according to Quarterman, of psychic rape is this concept of these demons sort of taking advantage of your sleep state, and sort of also tying it into the idea of incubus, of an incubus or a succubus, which if you don't know what an incubus is or a succubus, besides being a sweet new metal alternative metal band, I actually love Incubus. Anyone on the chat love Incubus? Please put it in the comments. But an actual incubus and a succubus, I believe there are they Iranian? No, that's jinn. Anyway, they are they're cultural demonic forces that take advantage of you sexually when you're asleep. A succubus is a female demon, and an incubus is a male demon. So that's what he's talking about when it comes to this psychic rape sort of situation. Now, he did mention this sort of myth of the old hag. Now, what are these old hag myths? Now, the old hag myths, they're a supernatural creature said to sit on the chest of sleeping victims, which has been linked to the feeling of suffocation or difficulty breathing during an episode of sleep paralysis. Now, this is from wikipedia.org. Now, folk belief in Newfoundland in Canada and South Carolina and Georgia in the United States describe the negative figure of the hag who leaves her physical body at night and sits on the chest of her victim. The victim usually wakes with a feeling of terror, has difficulty breathing because of a perceived heavy invisible weight on his or her chest, and is unable to move, i.e. experiences sleep paralysis. This nightmare experience is described as being hag-ridden in the Gula lore. The old hag was a nightmare spirit in British and also Anglophone North American folklore. So that's what he's talking about when it comes to this old hag experience when you have sleep paralysis. Now, the old hag creature is ultimately just another cultural entity used to explain the hallucinations seen during sleep paralysis. Other entities include the jinn, which is an Islamic mythological spirit closely tied to demons but aren't innately good or evil. The dab shog, which is an Asian nocturnal pressing spirit, which is actually what he was talking about before as well, which attacks sleepers by sitting on their chest, sometimes attempting to strangle them. as well as the mare, which, according to Wikipedia, is in Scandinavian folklore. Sleep paralysis is caused by a mare, a supernatural creature related to incubi and succubi. The mare is a damned woman who is cursed, and her body is carried mysteriously during sleep and without her noticing. In the state, she visits villagers to sit on their rib cages while they are asleep, causing them to experience nightmares. And actually I found out that the word nightmare is sort of tied into this Scandinavian folklore story of a mare. It's a nightmare, and then over time it sort of took on the meaning of a bad dream. So that's where nightmare comes from which is, very interesting. Now this is before we get into a little bit further into to sleep paralysis and more the paranormal side of it, I'm going to check your comments over here because it does look like it is you guys are still blowing up. This sleep paralysis episode is gold. Jerry Gold. I wish I was making money off this. Maybe I wouldn't have to work at my theater job over here. I could just be talking all day. Anyways, eggs and eyes. Monday equals Wednesday equals October. The days are just bleeding into each other. The months have bleeded into each other. I've been keeping a calendar for the first time in a long time where I actually cross off the days every day after they're over. It's a sweet calendar that my in-studio producer Tutataman's mother gave me for my, I believe, for Christmas last year, or was it my birthday? I don't remember. Tutataman, remind me in the comments or privately. But anyways, it's a sweet calendar with a bunch of Fender guitars on there. It's like such an old dad calendar, but I like it a lot. And the months, it's like a cartoon. They just one after another. I don't even notice when they're over, and when they begin, it's insane. So yes, Monday equals Wednesday equals October. Honeycomb Viper, getting sleep paralysis for the October aesthetic. Yes, very, very much spooky October aesthetic. El Christine, the most socially distanced way to celebrate Halloween is sleep paralysis. Well, it's the spookiest way for sure. You can get dressed up any way you want in your dreams or when you're sleeping and you're thinking about it. So might as well celebrate it while having sleep paralysis. Trial and Error Collective, dang, this is from Tucson. It rocks. I'm assuming you're talking about MaximumRoach. To be fair, Trial and Error Collective, I don't know if they're from Tucson. I think they might be from Phoenix. All I know is if you go to their Bandcamp, I found them on Bandcamp. It said they're from Arizona, but I didn't see, they don't specify a city, and in the tags there's nothing like Mesa, Tucson, anything. They didn't specify, so I don't know where MaximumRoach is specifically. I just know they're from the Southwest and they're from Arizona. So yeah, maybe they are from Tucson. If they are, they do rock. Honeycomb Viper, maybe we can all meet up on the astral plane for a costume party. Honestly, I'm pretty interested in the idea of astral projection, and I would love to meet up with all my friends on the astral plane and just kind of have some fun. Having said that, I've heard some horror stories about people astral projecting and not taking it seriously and kind of having a lot of interdimensional weirdness coming their way, so we must be careful. Eggs and Eyes, Roach Bones. Nicolas Cage, the movie Prince of Darkness is basically about interdimensional beings are demons. Prince of Darkness, maybe I'm just having a brain fart over here, but I'm not. I don't know that movie, Prince of Darkness. Which one is that? For some reason, Keanu Reeves pops in my head when I think of Prince of Darkness, but I don't think he's in that movie. So anyways, if you want to school me over on the comments, feel free to do that. Nicolas Cage, and Eggs and Eyes. I too love Incubus. Nicolas Cage, me too. Trial and Error Collective, hell yeah, Incubus. El Christine, thumbs up. It looks like everyone is living on this Incubus. And Trial and Error Collective, nothing past 2004 though. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm not a big fan of was Morning View, was that the name of their Morning View? I think that was the name of that album. I don't really like that one. Anything before that though, Make Yourself and Science and all that I love. But anyways, let's get back to the spooky stories, the paranormal side of sleep paralysis. Let me get back to my notes over here. So now this next little bit comes from ghosttheory.com. For Denise, not a real name, the fact that it's typical didn't make it any easier to endure, and at one point she found herself meeting with her parish priest asking for an exorcism. So this woman, Denise, in this ghosttheory.com story was suffering from sleep paralysis. So that's what they're talking about when she says the fact that it's typical. Apparently she had researched it and found out that sleep paralysis is just it's sort of common for a lot of people, but to her, that didn't really matter. Now she said, "It sounds so silly now," she told the Telegram, adding that that's the reason why she declined to use her real name or have her photo printed. "But there was a point when I really thought something paranormal was going on, and I wanted it gone. The first time she experienced the old hag was as a university student during exams, the 47-year-old said. She woke up in the middle of the night with the feeling of something pressing down on her chest. I couldn't move, couldn't even wiggle my toes. I tried to call out to my mother, but couldn't. It was like something was sitting on me, holding me down. I even felt the presence of a ghost, Denise said. It was terrifying. The old hag came about a week later. This time, Denise said, she clearly saw a ghost. I saw the form of a person sitting on me, their hands pushing down on my chest. I couldn't tell if it was a man or a woman, but it was very clearly a human. Once again, I tried to scream, but nothing came out. I tried to raise my arm and couldn't. It was like I was paralyzed. Because she had no known health problems and had actually seen what she thought was a ghost, Denise was convinced her problems were of a paranormal kind. After nearly a year of being tormented by the old hag on almost a weekly basis, she turned to her faith for help. I went to my priest. I honestly thought there was a chance I was possessed, or maybe my family's house was haunted, she said, laughing. I asked him to bless me, which he did, and I asked him to go about having an exorcism performed. At that point, I was dreading going to sleep at night. When the sun would start to set, I'd start feeling panicky. Now, regardless of the scientific explanations for sleep paralysis, many still claim that they are very real and very frightening experiences are still originating from a paranormal source. Now, from this website that I read this short little story from, ghosttheory.com, the article was just kind of flooded with a ton of comments from people who had sleep paralysis and who had experiences with it. And they were very critical of this article. Now, user Sharon Scully replied, "You can call it whatever you want about the old hag visiting. Unless it happens to you, you can bend words any way you want. It happens to me nightly as a child. She would pull my hair, torment, and laugh. The person claiming it's all a sleep disorder is an idiot." So very, you could tell she was very upset that her experiences as a young child, having her hair pulled, tormented, and laughed at with these sleep paralysis episodes by an old hag. She was very upset that people are just saying this is which is a sleep disorder essentially. User Antonio Paralysis writes, "Interesting article. Sadly, the attempt at explaining this phenomena fails. First, it doesn't happen to everyone. Second, those who do have the sleep paralysis experience all shared 98% of the same elements of that experience, i.e. a malevolent being, an odd smell, etc. This is odd because those of us who have had the experience are not related in any way. Why would we all share the same elements if it is a hallucination? The so-called scientists cannot explain this. I had this experience in 1990, 92, and 2002. Scared the hell out of me. The third time it happened, I tried to say Jesus, and I heard a laugh. That really freaked me out. I do believe that with certainty that the sleep paralysis experience is of a spiritual nature. I'm not advocating religion, but just that there is a spiritual component. We simply are not ready or willing to accept it. It's supernatural, not scientific. Basically, it's a spirit. Who wants to anchor itself through you, regain what it had been when it was alive, for a brief moment? I have had this experience many times. However, I came up with a protective circle through which they cannot get to you. A quick DIY one. Before you go to sleep, say in an assertive voice, i.e. north, east, south, west, my circle is protected, nothing may enter and nothing may leave. Supernatural being, go in peace, but stay away from me while I sleep. That should give it something to think about. However, they adapt, so you will need to beef up your ritual. Make it up as you go along. It will work and give you a break. Good luck. Now, that was kind of hard to read. I had sort of a tough time reading that. I guess I could have kind of punctuated that better, but I just copy-pasted it from the website, and literally every sentence was just punctuated with exclamation points, and it was literally the middle of sentences were broken up by punctuation points. This person really wanted you to know that this magic circle, DIY magic circle, worked for him. So I guess if we all end up having sleep paralysis, maybe we should try doing that tonight. Just do a verbal magic circle hoping that we don't get sleep paralysis. Now, there is a surprising amount of traction amongst the Christian community that sleep paralysis is indeed a demonic attack, and that by exclaiming the name of Jesus Christ, mentally or physically, because as we know, if you have sleep paralysis, you are unable to speak. You're unable to shout. You are paralyzed. So you wouldn't really be able to say it physically. You'd have to think of the name of Jesus Christ. The sleep paralysis victim can stop the attack. But why would demons choose to attack us in such a seemingly harmless way other than psychologically? Because at this point, sleep paralysis hasn't been proven to kill anybody, as far as I've seen. And when I was looking up sort of statistics, I didn't find any that for people who've died during sleep paralysis episodes. So really, sleep paralysis hasn't done much other than affect the mind, affect the psyche. I haven't really heard anything about physical scarring or injuries really happening all that much, if at all. Now, this is from JesusChristForDummies.com. Why is why is the old hag sitting on your chest? For lots of reasons. Here are the top 5. Number 1, the evil spirit wants to kill you because it sees something bright in your future. Note, only God actually knows the future. Number 2, the devil wants to give you the gift of fear, which causes you to doubt the power of God, our Lord Jesus Christ, and lose faith. Number 3, a living person or persons are working black magic or satanic rituals to harm you. Number 4, you unknowingly grant demons access into your life by listening to satanic music, watching satanic movies, playing satanic games, etc. And number 5, you've helped a person to seek our Lord Jesus Christ, and now the devil seeks to torment you in retaliation. So yeah, according to Jesus Christ for Dummies, those are the top 5 reasons why you potentially might have an old hag sitting on your chest when you have sleep paralysis. And that is the end of tonight's sort of precursor sleep paralysis episode for the week, in regards to sort of laying a nice little foundation of both the scientific reasons why we have sleep paralysis and maybe some more of the paranormal reasons. Now, my opinion on sleep paralysis does tend to veer towards the scientific in regards to why it happens. I think when it has to do with the sleep disorders, there's still a lot that's unknown. The brain is a fantastic machine, a fantastic computer, but sometimes the physical connection between the body and the brain, it kinks up a little bit. So we have these episodes where like sleep paralysis, where science can't fully explain it. They really haven't been able to fully dive into why the body is unable to negotiate being able to fall asleep and enter these deep REM states of sleep and then get out of it with 100% efficiency all the time. It's a pretty high ratio, I would imagine. I mean, I only had sleep paralysis for maybe about a month, on and off, more or less, I think. And then since then, I haven't had it at all. But it is a very scary experience. The concept of it being having to do with demons or spirits or alien entities is a very frightening idea. I mean, essentially, if that was the case, we are being attacked when we are most vulnerable, when we're asleep. I mean, essentially, anytime we're attacked when we're asleep, even if it's a spiritual being or an actual physical person, I mean, that's the time to do it because we're asleep. We're vulnerable, where our defenses are down. It is the best time to be attacked from the attacker's point of view, and is the worst time for us in regards to defense. So, you can lock your doors, you can have bars on your windows, you can sleep in an underground bunker, but if this situation is caused by spiritual entities, extraterrestrials, there really is no escaping it. And I think that's why it kind of tickles my scary bone in my head. It might be a poor choice of words, but it kind of tickles that scary bone where I'm interested in the idea of sleep paralysis, but I am very scared about it. I'm not scared about UFOs. I'm not really scared about demons or Satanism or anything like that necessarily. But the idea that we're defenseless with this whole thing, it's a very scary thing, and I don't want to have to deal with sleep paralysis again. So I'm hoping that talking about it isn't going to kind of put this idea in my brain and cause me to have sleep paralysis. So that would be very bad. But let me get to some of your comments over here before we start wrapping up the show. Nicolas Cage fight, John Carpenter's Prince of Darkness. Okay, there you go. Now I know what you're talking about. Nicolas Cage fight. It has Alice Cooper, not Keanu. I mean, I'd switch out Alice Cooper with Keanu any day. As far as I've heard, Alice Cooper's a nice man. I heard he's a nice rocker. He lives here in Arizona, but I also hear he's a Republican. So yeah, maybe it balances out. I don't know. Trial and Error Collective. The similar hallucinations is what really boggles my noggle. Across centuries, people have seen this shadow demon. How is there no explanation? And honestly, that is one of the things that kind of gets me when it comes to sleep paralysis. Is the idea that there's so many people who've experienced it and who have had such similar experiences, and the concept that, or the idea that throughout the centuries, different cultures have essentially all experienced the same thing. They may have called it different things in the same way that with religion, potentially all these religions could be, if there is a God or an overarching spiritual entity that created us or whatever, that all these religions could just be talking about the same God. Essentially, if you really think about it, where there's no real proof that they're all different gods, they all could be from the same source. So very much in that same way, all these different cultural experiences and these different names, the jinn and the old hag, succubus, incubus, all these kind of things could just be names for the same experience of kind of shared throughout the centuries by people. And that's a very scary idea as well, that this is something that is just kind of perpetuated itself and carried on for centuries, and it will outlast us. It will outlast myself and all of us. It'll just keep going and unfortunately kind of infecting people throughout time into the future. So I don't know, we'll see what happens after the show. Maybe one of us will have sleep paralysis, I don't know. Anyway, so we're coming up here to the top of the hour. It's going to be the end of the show, so I do want to thank everyone for tuning in to Tarantula's Dream TV. I am your host, Samba. On Wednesday we're going to be talking sleep paralysis again, and I do hope to have more stories for you all. I'm going to tell you about my personal stories. I was thinking about sharing them tonight, but I opted to wait till Wednesday. I do have a handful of y'all that I've reached out to who answered a poll I did over on Instagram, trying to see how many people, how many of my listeners or people who had followed my Instagram had experienced sleep paralysis, and if they'd be willing to talk about it. And I did have some responses, so hopefully I'll either have them on the air, or yes, like Eggs and Eyes had said earlier, if you'd like, you are more than able to call the phone number 520-704-7820 while I'm off the air and leave a message, and I will play it on the air. I'll listen to it before I play it on the air, just in case you're all gonna scream penis really loud or something. I don't know, try to prank me over here, but yeah, I'll play the messages on the air, and we'll have a nice little spooky little time. Now, one thing I wanted to bring up in regards to the show is because it is October, it is Halloween spooktacular this month, sort of. I didn't really announce it, and I didn't I haven't really been promoting that all these episodes are going to be sort of more spooky in nature, in contrast to maybe some past episodes are more political with QAnon or more conspiratorial. I wanted to do a nice little spooky month of different topics. So at the end of the month, I believe Halloween is on a Saturday this month, and I don't broadcast on a Saturday. But the Monday and Wednesday before Halloween, I wanted to have sort of a Halloween ghost story, spooky spooktacular. So please, if you have any scary stories that you want to share with the Tarantula's Dream TV audience, I'm also going to encourage people to call and leave messages about that, maybe a little closer to that episode. And of course, I'll have a promo video for that, so you'll know when you can call in and kind of share your stories. I have some spooky ghost stories myself. I kind of want it to be a little more loose, a little more free, where we can just have a nice little spooky old time over here. Let's turn the lights down low, put on our jammies, and kind of just get a little creeped out before Halloween 2020 over here. And I will be using probably some of those stories, with your permission, over on Tarantula's Dream Radio. I'm going to do a broadcast over on 99.1 FM Downtown Radio about ghosts and spirits and spooky stories from my listeners. So if you're all comfortable with that, please gear up your spooky stories for that as well. Anyway, so it is the top of the hour. It is the end of the show. I want to thank everyone again for tuning in to Tarantula's Dream TV. I broadcast every Monday and Wednesday from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. over here on Instagram. I hope everyone has a great rest of the week. Please gear up your stories. If you have any more sleep paralysis stuff you want to talk about, phone number for the show is 520-704-7820. So please, social distance if you can, wear a mask if you go outside, and remember, it is a weird, weird world. Take care.